So the report shows there was a ton of bias in the Clinton server investigation. It seems like everybody had it in for President Trump, which raises an interesting question. How will the Inspector General's finding affect the Mueller investigation? Former Trump campaign manager and author of Let Trump Be Trump, Corey Lewandowski, is here. He's also a senior strategist at Vice President Pence's PAC Great America. Welcome back, Corey.
Thank you for having me.
So within the report, it says that bias is really interesting because everyone has some level of bias. The difficult thing is showing that that bias affected your work and also affected the outcome. Although the Inspector General says that bias did not affect the conclusion, do you feel that it did?
Well, look, Kim Strobel was just tweeting about this a little while ago, and she understands how the deep state really exists. And this is what we talk about when we talk about the deep state, is the permanent structure of bureaucrats and unelected officials who are trying to do everything they can to stop this president. And what this report is showing was, while Donald Trump was a candidate, there were individuals who were part of that deep state, part of that permanent structure, who wanted to divert resources away from the Hillary Clinton email investigation and get it towards a potential Russia hoax investigation. But the most important thing that this report has now demonstrated, unequivocally, it is in writing, is that Hillary Clinton's email server was breached by a foreign entity, and we know that unequivocally she had classified information on an unsecured server. That is not only a breach of protocol, I believe that to be illegal, and I don't know why we don't see criminal referrals based on the information which is in this IG report.
And the Inspector General cataloged all of the potential charges that Hillary Clinton and her team were facing, and he basically agreed with the assessment by then FBI Director James Comey that there was not enough proof of intent on the part of Hillary Clinton or the people who were working for her. But there are also a lot of questions about how those people were questioned that were in her inner circle and the kind of immunity that they were given. Now, obviously, what people want from this is accountability. James Comey is no longer the head of the FBI. He was fired. It seems very clear that his book was rushed out before the IG report so he could make a bunch of money and go on a speaking tour before some of this damning information came to light. Loretta Lynch is no longer the Attorney General. Andrew McCabe has been fired. What else do you think is going to happen in terms of accountability here?
Well, Peter Schrock shows up at work every day for the FBI. He continues to have a top secret security clearance. They moved him. This is the paragon of virtue. This is the guy who's sleeping with his colleague, and all of a sudden they demote him, but they put him in the human resources department of the FBI. If that doesn't tell you everything that was wrong with the leadership at the FBI, how is it possible that Peter Schrock, who is on the record now with these tweets, with these text messages to his girlfriend, his lover at the FBI, saying these things that we will do anything to stop him, we will stop Donald Trump. How does he still have a job at the FBI? How does he continue to have access to top secret and classified information? And why in God's name would he working in the human resources department of all places? He should be fired immediately. His credentials should be taken away, and he should have the same criminal referral treatment that we believe Andrew McCabe is going to have. And the accountability for McCabe and Comey, someone is going to get immunity, and they're going to turn on the other one. This isn't over just yet.
Yeah, no, I think that person is going to be McCabe, because he's the one who lost his job. Think about it. Comey got the sweetheart book deal. He's come out of this just fine. He'll probably work for a high-end law firm. Andrew McCabe's future and his pension still very much up in the air. It seems as though he has the most to gain by turning, and we'll see if that happens, because although this is a very robust report, it seems very thorough at this point, we certainly haven't seen the end of it. How is the president taking it?
Well, look, I'm sure the president is looking forward to the Inspector General going up to Congress and spending 2 days testifying in open session about not only what's in the report, but what is not in the report. Congress wants to make sure that they understand, was this report changed in any way, like we've seen Comey has done in the past, from willful neglect to something else? So, I think I haven't spoken to the president about this, but I can tell you this. He wants to see equal justice across the board, which means not a different set of rules for Hillary Clinton and Jim Comey. It should be the same set of rules. And we know, because the IG's already told us this, that Andrew McCabe, who was fired, has lied under oath at least 3 times to the FBI, and has not been charged criminally yet. And if that was you or me or any other average American lying to the FBI, we would be charged criminally and we'd be having to fight for our lives to stay out of jail.
That's true.
But there
and
are
if any of
different
us were
sets of
at
rules.
the FBI using our Gmail account, especially in light of the controversy that the server investigation caused, that's another one of those kind of shocking discoveries. So when Horowitz goes to Capitol Hill, who's going to give him a harder time, Democrats or Republicans?
Well, I think the Democrats are going to say that, they believe that Comey cost Hillary Clinton the election, which we know is not true. Look, she was a terrible candidate. She cost herself, and Donald Trump just outworked her every single day. So it had nothing to do with that. But what the Republicans are going to want to know are real changes taking place at the FBI. We saw Director Wray come out today and say there's going to be significant changes at the FBI. The culture at the top of the FBI for the last number of years before Director Wray has been a disaster. So it is a premier law enforcement agency. There are great people who work there. They deserve better than Jim Comey and Andrew McCabe.
And maybe it's problematic at the FBI because they've got too much power and too little oversight. And this kind of corruption, that's how it takes root. That's something for Republicans and Democrats to think about when they grill Michael Horowitz. Thank you so much, Corey Lewandowski.
Thank you.